Whenever Madam Mayor is ready.
Okay. I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Monday, October 24th, 2022. Our invocation tonight will be given by Deacon Jorge Cruz of Our Lady of Perpetual Help. And then the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Police Chief Standridge, a member of the VFW Post 8988, and he will lead the Pledge of Allegiance in honor and recognition of our veterans and United States military servicemen and women. Okay, Deacon Jorge Cruz.
Almighty ever-living God, who have made our labors a means of praise and work, we ask for your blessing upon this meeting and its success. Give us and guide our steps as we continue to work for the common good in our community, and help us to uphold values which respect the life and dignity of all. Help us to remember that on earth we are on a brief journey, and that we are placed in this life to reflect the goodness with which you have created us. Help us to do our jobs with care and dedication. Never let us become complacent. You who are justice itself, help us to be just and to work with honesty. When we are tired and weary, may we turn to you for strength, energy, and love, so that in turn we may love one another as you love us. Help us remember to see and care for the weak, the hungry, the oppressed, and the voiceless. May we never despair in the sight of injustice, hate, and vision of others who do not yet know your kindness. God of love and joy, may we see in you those who cross our paths, and may our work guide us ever closer to you, who are the source of all goodness. Continue to shower. We ask all of this in the name which is above all other names, the name of your beloved Son, Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Spirit, God, forever and ever. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Kong,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Mohovia is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Ellis is absent. Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Thank you.
Public comment. Notice to the public, this time is set aside to receive public comment on matters not calendared on the agenda. When recognized by the mayor, please state your name and address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Under California law, the city council is prohibited from generally discussing or taking action on items not included in the agenda. However, the city council may briefly respond to comments or questions from members of the public. Therefore, the city council will listen to all public comment, but will not generally discuss the matter or take action on it. Do we have any public comment? No? Okay. Chamber of Commerce Visitors Bureau update. Council to review and discuss the Bishop Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau update prepared by Executive Director Tani Thompson. Hi.
Hello again. Good evening, Mayor, Council. So I did provide a written report, which was included in your packets, and I can briefly just kind of touch on some of the things. Always appreciate the opportunity to let you and the public know what we've been up to over there. The Visitor Information Center has been really, really busy. Many days, over 100 walk-in guests. Most inquiries, of course, this time of year are about fall colors, but we've also been helping people reroute to Death Valley since the extended road closure has been going on. Recently, we hosted the Ventura County Motorcycle Club Dual Sport Rally. It was 165 participants plus about 30 of their club members. It went really well. And just a big shout out to the volunteers that helped with that. We had about 15 volunteers, and including Chief Standridge. So thank you for helping with that. Coming up, we're already planning January through March, we're going to be quite busy. We're going to be attending 5 consumer travel and sport shows between January and March. The 2 Fred Hall fishing shows, International Sportsman's Expo, and the LA and Bay Area travel shows. And we're also, for the first time ever, going to be going to IPW, which is not a consumer trade show. It's a travel industry show where we actually meet with travel media and travel tour operators, primarily international. And that'll be in May in San Antonio. So we're already working on the plans for those. I brought something fun. I did show this at Inyo Associates, so I apologize if it's a repeat, but one of the much of what we do is not seen locally, because when we're promoting our destination, we're outside of the area. And so we do some print publications we've talked about before, but this one is really special to me. It's been kind of a dream for a long time. When you fly on an airplane, there's usually a magazine in the seat back pocket, and that magazine has all kinds of different travel stories, recipes, usually your safety information for if you have to get off a plane in a hurry. But it's read by many, many people that fly on many, many airplanes. This magazine is called Hemispheres, and it's the official magazine for United Airlines throughout the country. And this is the October edition. It's in the seat pocket for all those planes. And in addition to all those nice features, there's also a nice ad for flying into Bishop here. So it's not inexpensive. It's a serious investment, but we will be in the October, November, and December issues of Hemispheres magazine. So check it out if you're on a United flight anytime coming soon. Occupancy September was 79.2%, which is about 19% higher than last year, of course, but still about 10% lower than 2019. Still facing factors like lack of international visitation, the Yosemite reservations, high gas prices. So, but we're plugging along. ADR was 135, and October occupancy is tracking very strong so far. We've had a few days over 94, 95% occupancy for October. So things are good. Any questions about visitor stuff, or I'll just tell you quick about chamber stuff. Okay, switching gears. The Chamber of Commerce, our local to local community stuff. Our October 5th mixer was really well attended. The memorial tree planting for our former board member and good friend, John Louth, went really well. Really want to say thanks to Waylon and Willis. They did a great job with that. We had about 25 of their family members and friends attend. And that's in the back of the city park, or the east end of the city park. The Chamber Challenge golf thing was well attended. It's a good little fundraiser for us, and we're really thankful to all of our whole sponsors and prize donors. Our next Lunch and Learn event is scheduled for Tuesday, November 2nd, 12 noon at the Bishop Country Club Golf Course. Our program is going to be presented by Chief Standridge, who's going to talk about current trends in local crime and what businesses can do to protect themselves and prevent crime. So hopefully that'll be well attended. We've ordered the replacement light bulbs for the Main Street snowflakes. Waylon's going to pick those up. April's coordinating with DWP, Caltrans, and the PD for an installation date. The Christmas parade is set for December 3rd. The Caltrans permits are in process. We've had an initial planning meeting. Our theme is going to be Christmas movies. So folks can have fun becoming their favorite Christmas movie character or decorating a float along that theme line. And Railroad Express is set for December 10th at Laws. And our Christmas mixer is going to be December 15th at High Country Lumber. With that,
Fantastic.
that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's it for me tonight. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Tani.
Thank you, Tani.
All right, next up, we have the Eastern Sierra Tri-County Fairgrounds quarterly update.
Sorry about that.
This is Marlo on behalf of Jen McGuire at the Tri-County Fairgrounds. She is out of town tonight, so she asked me to step in to do her fair recap. So I believe this was all provided to you guys as well. If you have any questions, please let me know. Fair gross revenue, we saw an 18% increase this year compared to last. Net revenue was down 17% from 2021 due to inflation and the higher expenses. Carnival revenue was also down due to the extreme heat that we had to deal with. Vendors were up 94%. For those of you who attended the fair, we had twice the amount of food vendors that we did in 2021. Sponsors were up as well, 22% increase. Parking revenue, the parking was all paid this year. We did a split with the Bishop High School baseball team. So the parking revenue was up 21%. Total exhibits were approximately 1,200, which is a 30% increase, as well as the horse show. Rodeo entries were at capacity and had to run 2 slack performances. Some improvements that we would like to make going forward. We are actively recruiting volunteers to help with the fair. Less lines, more points of entry. We did have 3 entry points this year. So that did help some with the lines, but we could always do better. We would like to consider changing the fair dates. A survey did go out to the public, vendors, anybody whose email address we had, to kind of get their opinion because of the extreme heat this year about possibly changing the dates to later in September or early October. But there are some ideas that we have thrown out to kind of help with the heat, using misters throughout the property, increasing shade in the seating areas, putting some large shade sails in front of the COSO operating stage. Other ideas we're throwing out are family passes, season passes, possibly offering a military discounts, increased security. We are going to be needing to upgrade the sound in the East Arena and in the barns for a paging system. Concert, the Hispanic concert, for those that were able to attend Thursday, was a wonderful turnout. We're hoping to have another Hispanic concert and make it part of our annual fair. We did use a local promoter from the area. However, it didn't work as well as we had hoped. Jen wants to take that on herself and kind of just do everything in-house. Grandstand, some improvements that we need to do are better handicap seating signage, possibly increasing box seating if possible. The Derby was great. We cut off ticket sales 1,000 below capacity, just so there weren't as many complaints this year about overselling the Derby. So we cut it even below where it was last year. Let's see, marketing. We currently have 2 billboards on Highway 395, one by Bishop Chevron and one outside of Big Pine. Jen tried a direct mail this year for the fair to encourage people from Ridgecrest to come up. She did lots of print and radio ads. Let's see. Oh, our carnival had a 3-year contract. So it is up for bid this coming year. So she just wants to pass that along, that we will be going out to bid for the carnival. Grants and facility update for 2023. we have been awarded a grant to upgrade the Charles Brown. The heating and cooling in that building is extremely old. The heaters are actually no longer functioning. So we were able to get a grant to replace and upgrade those. She's also got a grant for a transfer power switch for the Charles Brown, the Heritage Arts, the office, and the pump house. She's working on applying for several USDA grants and a resiliency grant through the California Department of Food and Ag. As far as maintenance, right now, we have some pretty significant maintenance projects coming up. Garrett, our head maintenance guy, is working on a water valve replacement. And then the Heritage Arts building, unfortunately, during fair, we discovered that there was a pretty significant leak. So we will be replacing part of that roof. I believe it's the north half of the building will be getting a new roof. And that's kind of my recap. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't. Does anyone?
I have a quick question, Marlo.
Sure.
It used to be in the past, you probably remember that churches would volunteer as like a group. There was always one church who would be in charge of cleaning the bathrooms and that kind of stuff. Is that not something that you're able to find groups to do that anymore?
Unfortunately, that church, after Lisa Camo, she kind of spearheaded that. She kind of stepped away, and then she's since passed away. We don't have, a church group that volunteers to do anything. We did really lean heavily on the youth groups this year. The girls volleyball ran the ticket gates. The baseball team did the parking. The new drill team, Home Street Drill Team, and color guard leader, she stepped up and took on food alley cleaning. So a lot of youth groups have come forward and are really helping us fill those gaps. But unfortunately, there's not currently a church that does anything with us at this time.
Just thought I'd throw it out there in case any churches were listening.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
the other question I had is that you said there was a survey that went out. I don't think I got one. Did they go to all the council members?
I don't. So anybody who registered on our online ticket portal was sent a survey, and then I had all of my vendors' email address. They were given the survey. Pretty much anybody who's ever bought tickets through our online system, I think, was the primary database that we used for that survey.
Okay, I'll pop by and get one from you.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank
A
you.
follow-up question on that, Marlo, you allow me. Do you have any results from that survey?
Jen has sent the survey results to our board members. It was briefly discussed at our last board meeting. That was October 12th. A lot of people actually really like the dates of the fair. Some of them, we saw a huge influx of people, like as soon as the sun went down, that's kind of when everybody comes out. And then unfortunately we get stuck with the huge line, and the carnival companies, they try and, keep the rides going as long as possible. So it's still kind of up in the air as far as what they want to do moving forward. I believe there are 3 board members that want to form like an ad hoc committee to kind of reach out to local businesses, the vendors, some of the people that participated in the survey, and get more information from them. It was very brief. I believe it was only 6 questions. So I think they're going to kind of go into more detail and get more information from the public as far as, what do you want? It is kind of hard to start school right away and then have a big expense like the fair after moms and dads have just spent, a large chunk of money getting clothes and school supplies. So that is kind of a reoccurring complaint that I personally have heard. So we're just trying to make it feasible for everyone in the community to come.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Sure.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much, Marla. We really appreciate you presenting for us tonight.
Thanks, Marla.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Department reports. Updates on department activities will be given by the department heads and/or their staff. And we'll start with Fire Chief. No, he's not here. He's at a meeting. We'll start with Police Chief Richard Standridge.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to do something a little different tonight. Instead of just talking about the department and stats and all those types of things, I want to talk about employees. So I'm going to recognize 3 of my employees, one of them in particular here in just a second. But in case you didn't get to take a look at the booth that we had out at the Festival of Frights, or if you haven't seen my photos I put up on social media, Molly Lawrence did one heck of a job in designing all of that herself. So she and her brother and dad put together a PVC frame to hang up a backdrop. She painted the whole Scooby-Doo theme. And I mean, it was well received, fantastic. Redid the Bishop PD head cutout so kids could take pictures with the patrol car. I mean, it was just fantastic, totally family oriented. And I can't thank her enough for that effort because it was done by her and solely her. The other employee I want to recognize is Alina Dondero, who stepped up and helped her with the organization set up, buying the candy, getting everything ready that we needed to do that event. So last but not least, we talked about we have Veterans Day coming up. So I want to talk about my dispatcher. And I say my dispatcher because I'm pretty protective of my department, but ultimately it's the city's communications dispatcher. Olivia's been with the department 4 years. And what a lot of folks don't know is she's also an Air Force reservist. So one of the things I wanted to come here and recognize her tonight, because she won't tell anybody, because Olivia is very unassuming and goes about her business and just does her job. So she doesn't like the fanfare and the recognition, nor does her sister Taylor, who's sitting here, who I said specifically I was going to embarrass because she's a county employee, but also a Air Force reservist. I told you I'd throw that in. So, so Olivia's been with us 4 years, 10 years as an Air Force reservist, as a medical technician, and she also helps coach cheerleading at our local schools. So we talk about not only do our employees serve their community, but they also serve their country. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to introduce newly promoted Master Sergeant in the Air Force, Miss Olivia Hartshorn. And I know a lot of folks know about the military and the rank structure, but making E7 either as full-time active duty or reservist is a huge, huge accomplishment. It takes a number of years, training, schooling, a lot of different things. So I just had to bring her here and recognize her. So I hope that shows council the quality of employees we have, not only in the police department, but our citywide and our community. So you want to say something?
I would just like to thank you guys for having me here today. Thank you to the chief for doing this for me. It's a lot of work. Once a month, me and my sister go to Wyoming and Colorado. We fly out, work for a couple days, and then come back. It's an honor to work here and to work and serve the community that I grew up as a kid, and Taylor did as well. A lot of support and throwing in cheer too. We have a really great team this year. It is homecoming this week. So if you guys have a chance to come out, definitely come check out our cheerleaders. They're incredible. It's really awesome to be able to give back in that sense too. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Okay, Public Works Director Nora Gamino.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I don't have anything nearly as awesome as what Rich just presented. I am going to give a couple of stats. So happy to say that the sewer trunk line project is now complete, and we're in the process of processing the final payment on that project. Also met with the California Rural Water Association regarding some West Bishop water system consolidations. They're doing a feasibility report on some systems out there. Met with LADWP representatives, talked through some of the considerations for the East Line Street bridge replacement project and what we need to do to work with them on that. Got the 25-mile-an-hour flashing speed signs. Those are all installed. Go check them out. We're still working on some of the settings on those so that they're not flashing. It's like 20 seconds, I think they're set for right now. We're trying to trim that up so that you can be rewarded with the lights stopping flashing if you start going under the speed limit. So we're working on that piece of it. And the other big thing for us right now is we're having trouble with our SCADA system, which controls the water system and some of the wastewater components. We're in the process of troubleshooting our communication failures, figuring out what's going on there. So I'm going to keep it brief with just those things tonight if there are any questions.
Do you want to tell the public where those flashing lights are before they arrive? at them?
Yeah, sure. So there is one, no, it's a treasure hunt. You have to go find them. So there's one on East Line Street as you're coming into town, which I think is flashing quite a bit because it's really hard to go 25 miles an hour at that location, but that is the speed limit. There are two on Home Street. So there's one that's southbound, one that's northbound on either end of Home Street up near the Seventh Day School that's up there. There's two on Hanby near the soccer fields to slow people down on that long back stretch. And then right around the corner on Yaney, there's one there. That one, I think we're still troubleshooting some issues, so it's not quite functioning. But what they do is they just flash little white lights that border the sign when you go over 25 miles an hour. And like I said, the cycle time is about 20 seconds. So if you come down under 25 and they don't stop flashing at you, we're working on that piece. We're trying to get it to work correctly. So, but they are installed, and hopefully they just make people aware that those are the speed limits there.
Great, thanks.
A question for you or the chief. Are we going to ask Caltrans to put those same signs on Main Street since it's their street?
They actually did place them as we requested. There's now one right as you come into Bishop, right next to
Yeah,
southbound, and then there's also one that's northbound. There's one southbound right at the fairgrounds now too.
yes, I was thinking more in, just in downtown, in the middle of Main Street, where sometimes I see people driving way faster than 25 miles an hour. So maybe it wouldn't hurt to put one or two more, either on either direction, northbound, southbound, somewhere by McDonald's or someplace right in the middle of Main Street.
Agreed.
Maybe. Thank you. Thank you.
Before Nora gets away, this is something from her past life, but could you tell council a little bit about the award you're going to get Thursday?
Oh, I received it Thursday.
Oh, you received
I
it
got
Thursday, but this is really cool. This is the caliber of folks we got. Please tell us.
You're gonna make me toot my own horn.
Yep.
Okay. So with the Forest Service, I was nominated regionally and nationally to receive what's called the Engineer of the Year Award. So Managerial Engineer of the Year. I received it for 2021, so it's a little late, but I won both the regional award and the national award. So on Thursday, I was honored by our Director of Engineering for the Forest Service with the Managerial Engineer of the Year Award. So it's a national award. It was a pretty high note to go out on with the Forest Service. So yeah.
Yeah, great.
It's awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Community Services Manager Dan McElroy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I too am going to take a little bit of time to recognize some employees tonight since we're on that theme. I don't have anything as great as a, Engineer of the Year award, but I'd like to give some accolades to my fellow employees and people that work so diligently for the Community Services Department. First up is the Festival of Frights. If you guys didn't attend, I know I saw Jose there. So it was a very well attended event. Thank you to Carrie Poole for all of her hard work and her collaboration with multiple agencies. It was hosted at the fairgrounds, and thank you to Jen McGuire for hosting that for us. We estimate that we had anywhere from about 400 to 500 kids. So it was quite busy. We had bounce houses, we had a scary zone, just lots of things going on. And especially thank you to all the sponsors for their collaboration, the police department, fire department, Bishop Volunteer Fire Department, the Sheriff's Department, CHP Department, and of course the Bishop Chamber. So I'll forget a few, so I won't go much further. And a special thanks to Stephen Mahovey for being our judge and handing out all the prizes to the kids. In our gymnastics program, Fiona Swanson is our new site coordinator, and she continues to do a great job. We're getting ready to reopen our gymnastics. It closes this week, and it's already set and available for the public to access that. At our after-school program, Nancy Gonzalez continues to operate a full program, and she has stepped up and taken charge of all the daily operations. Next up, we have in our parks, our park supervisor, Waylon Cleland, and of course, our lead worker, Willis Dondero, continue to make improvements at all of our city facilities. They're getting some new equipment, such as a new electric cart for the park and LED lights for pedestrian areas. And they've also winterized the Bishop Park pool. And I hate to say this, but the annual leaf harvest has begun. So they will begin cleaning leaves and working usually all the way through January on leaf projects. One last note is our adult soccer league season has wrapped up and will begin the playoffs next weekend. AYSO has also wrapped up, but we continue to host the Kit Carson teams, high school soccer now high school is at the park, and also youth football. And then Wednesday this week, we'll have a Parks and Rec Commission meeting. Do you have any questions or comments? Thank you, Jose, for being there. Appreciate it.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
I recall a month or so ago, we were waiting for some part of the sidewalk to be finished,
Yeah, I checked in with Gary. It was misordered and it should be here within the next couple days. So
okay.
it was a bad order.
I didn't know if I missed it, that it had come in or not.
It came in, but it was the wrong part.
Oh,
I saw Matt Clare today. It'll be done Thursday.
Thursday. Wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Associate Planner, Economic Development Coordinator, Elaine Kabala.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I have to apologize. I'm just going to totally reset the tenor of department head reports. I want to report to the council this evening. The Planning Commission did hold a special meeting last week to consider revocation of a conditional use permit for the Sterling Studio project. And the commission decided to recommend the conditional use permit be revoked. It's a recommendation to your city council. So no discussion on the item this evening, but it will be agendized in the future for your consideration. We continue to work on signage enforcement. So we're sort of sending out violation notices in batches. And in that first batch, we've either seen compliance or I have heard from the property owner and they are making progress towards compliance. And for a couple of outliers that haven't responded at all, a second round of violation notices was issued. Finally, just wanted to let the council know that the Community Economic Resilience Fund, which is the $5 million economic development planning project from the state of California, was awarded to the Sierra Business Council for the Eastern Sierra region. And so we'll expect that project should kick off in early 2023. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Done. Thank you.
Quick question, Elaine, I'm sorry. With those sign violations, are there any fines attached to it if not compliance with?
Yes, we do have administrative penalties in place for compliance if they don't come into compliance in a reasonable period of time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, City Administrator Destin Deshawn.
Hey, Madam Mayor and Council, just a few quick updates. Last week, Elaine and I met with a developer from the Southern California area to kind of discuss the potential options and ideas that may be out there if we were to gain property from LADWP. Very positive discussion with a lot of great ideas, that things that we, as never developing in this magnitude before, we learned a great deal. And I'll be meeting with Adam Perez at DWP tomorrow afternoon to discuss some of those ideas going forward. As you know, we've been searching for a finance director. That search has yielded a candidate to come forward who has tentatively accepted the offer. This person came out as number one in our interview process early in August, but was not available to come to Bishop till April. But now that we have a contract with an auditor, we're able to make that work. So very excited about that. And we're also working on updating the planning position job description to maybe attract more candidates, maybe not quite as high a level as we were looking for, but something that would suit the city's needs and could grow with the city as if the right person is found. We had a JPA since Stephen is not here tonight and Jose was not able to attend. We had our Joint Powers Authority Ad Hoc Committee meeting last week. Next council meeting, we'll be bringing an item to the council to approve basically the moving forward with a draft joint powers agreement and having BB&K law firm drafting that ordinance up, as well as asking for the expenditures of funds to hire them. And I guess last but not least is now that Leslie's on board, we've already set up appointments with all the department heads and we're gonna start plowing forward with budget and get ready for mid-year. But other than that, that's all I have at this time.
Can you explain a little bit about how this person, how that overlap with Leslie is going to take place with this person that you offered the job to?
Yeah, so now that we have her on board, I worked with her and she's more than willing to stay on contract with us through April. And then when April comes, she said that she'd be more than happy to spend as much time as necessary to get this person up to speed with everything. So I mean, it's really kind of a really best case scenario that we just backed into.
Thanks.
Any other questions? No? Okay, great. Moving on, the consent calendar, notice to the public, all matters under the consent calendar are considered routine by the city and will be acted on by one motion. Any questions? Any public comments? Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second that.
okay, call for a vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
All right. Moving on to new business, Parks and Recreation Commission, council consideration to reappoint Lisa Manuelito to the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term ending December 11th, 2026.
According to the City Council Policy Manual, under Section A3, Commission Appointments, procedures for filling vacancies on the Planning Commission and Parks and Recreation Commission is outlined. Under this policy, the council has the option to not advertise and seek applicants for the upcoming vacancy, should they wish to consider reappointing the current commissioner, Lisa Manuelito, whose current term ends on December 11, 2022. Parks and Recreation Commissioner Lisa Manuelito addressed a letter dated October 12, 2022 to the City Council requesting to be reappointed. The Parks and Recreation Commission appreciates the diverse representation they currently have seated on their commission. Lisa Manuelito has been involved with youth sports in Bishop for many years and is currently the Bishop Union High School's JV softball coach and president of the Little League softball program in Bishop. There are no budget impacts. The city's fiscal year 22-23 budget includes compensation for no more than $50 per month for up to 5 Parks and Recreation Commissioners pursuant to the Bishop Municipal Code. City Attorney Pucci has reviewed this item and finds that the recommended action complies with the law. If there's no other further questions, council consideration to reappoint Lisa Manuelito to the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term ending on December 11, 2026 is up for council's discussion and consideration. Community Services Manager Dan McRoy would you like to say a few words and introduce Lisa to the
Sure.
council?
Thank you, Robin, and thank you, council. If you guys don't know Lisa, Lisa has a connection with our community and is an asset to our Parks and Recreation Commission. Lisa gives us perspective and is never afraid to ask questions or make decisions. She has been a great contributor to the City Park Master Plan. We appreciate her time and her efforts. On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Commission and with council's recommendation, I would like to recommend Lisa continue as a valued partner with the Parks and Recreation Commission. And she is here. Lisa, you want to come up and say anything?
She doesn't look like she wants to, Dan.
Hello, I'm Lisa Manuelito. I'm born and raised here, and I've been active in athletics forever, as in the high school with the girls. I have 2 daughters, and I was on the Parks and Rec years ago, and my dad was too. It's always something that I have always been interested in and, wanting to help the community. And I really hope that you guys will appoint me to another term. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I'm in complete favor. I think it's great to have someone of such high caliber want to serve. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you wanting to do another term.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, with a huge thank you for everything you're doing for our community, I would like to make a motion to reappoint Lisa Manuelito to the Parks and Recreation Commission with a term ending on December 11, 2026.
I'll second that.
Call for a vote.
Do we have any other public comment?
Oh, public comment. Thank you. No public comment. Call for a vote.
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Purchase city vehicle for city administrator.
All right, council. Well, hi again. So the city of Bishop has historically given the city administrator a monthly vehicle allowance of $500. Up until the 1st of October, the city administrator has acted in the capacity of the public works director as well and utilized the public works director's vehicle. With the hiring of a public works director, that vehicle has gone back to the respective department. In each of other departments, the department head has the use of a city-owned vehicle. The city and the administration department had the opportunity at this time to acquire a vehicle for the city administrator's use. I reached out to Perry Motors of Bishop, California and Enterprise Fleet Management and received quotes from both for a Toyota Venza hybrid. The quote from Perry Motors was $39,339 plus tax and licensing. The quote from Enterprise was $44,435 plus tax and licensing and associated fees. This purchase would fall under the city's local and small business preference, but the local bid was the lowest bid received. The cost of the vehicle is $43,431.35, including taxes and fees. The funds for this purchase are currently not included in the 2022-23 budget, and a mid-year budget adjustment will need to be made. The $500 per month vehicle allowance was included in this year's budget and will be adjusted accordingly. Although there will be a substantial one-time cost to the city will have an asset going forward rather than a liability with the ongoing vehicle allowance if this purchase is made. At this time, staff recommends that the city council approve the purchase of the Toyota Venza hybrid from Perry Motors in an amount not to exceed $43,431.35, including sales tax and licensing. Thank you.
This makes sense to me versus just $500 every month going
Yeah.
into an empty hole. We have an asset.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it makes good sense.
It's always been done the 500 a month way.
It has always been done. It actually has been phased out over the years. Public Works Director used to get a vehicle allowance that was phased out. Obviously, the police and fire have cars. And then the city administrator always been the $500 vehicle allowance. And it just makes sense. We've had an employee that was there for 15 years, was given $500 a month. You know, the money's just essentially gone at that point. So just trying to make sense. And Jenny, before she left, and we had discussed this for a long time, and the price of vehicles, the availability, it just didn't seem feasible, but it finally is starting to free up a little bit the vehicle market. And I will say, I want to, commend Perry Motors on their pricing and just say that, the majority that we reached out are marking vehicles up from $5,000 to $15,000 above. They're selling them for exactly what the price is.
And does this vehicle exist? Is it put together somewhere?
The vehicle actually is sitting in the back of the lot at
Oh,
Perry
wow.
Motors
Okay.
and waiting on a
It has
decision.
a sign, sale pending.
It does.
Can't have this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's our replacement program for vehicles like this? Like, when would we decide?
So that's a great question. And we discussed it at department head meeting this morning. That was kind of the idea with the enterprise is, realizing when we need to replace vehicles rather than until they die. And I think myself and Ms. Gamino and Rich Sandridge, Chief Sandridge, came to the agreement. I think we can come up with our own replacement plan, create an account very much like our streets account where we're actually physically placing the funds in a separate account rather than just saying we are. And then come up with that. Is it 3 years or 5 years or whatever? But then have the cash put away to just pay instead of paying somebody else to figure that out for us. So we're going to effectively, in the next coming weeks, along with Leslie coming on board, is create that program.
That's a smart idea.
I think the most interesting thing I found with this agenda item was that we had all that discussion with Enterprise and yet their bid was not
The lowest.
better.
And are you sure you don't want the white Toyota Tundra capstone that they have there at the lot that I test drove the other day? You don't want that.
Well, I had to ask you 3 times how much it was. You can repeat that, please?
78,000.
Sure, it sounds great, but not needed. Not what we need to do.
I have one other question. When we get rid of this vehicle or like a new vehicle, does it go through like surplus? Is that how or do we just, because I feel like a car like this would have a great resale value when it's time. How does that work?
Absolutely. And we'll go through it. Other cities do exactly the same thing, and that's what we'll look into. Is that, we need to build a program where, we're at least probably twice a year looking in values of cars and when is the right opportunity, and probably creating a relationship with a local car dealer. And this is actually the first car that we would have purchased from Perry Motors. We can create that relationship to know when that is. And not saying that Enterprise that we can't work with them, but currently, just by the low price is simply why we're
Yeah.
Perry
Yeah.
Motors and locally.
Great. Okay, any other questions? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will, anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of a Toyota Venza hybrid from Perry Motors in an amount not to exceed $43,431.35, including sales tax and licensing.
I'll second that.
Call for a vote?
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Great. Set fiscal year 2022-23 grants and support ad hoc committee.
So in the 2021 fiscal year, the city reconfigured the grants and support program. The reconfiguration was done to make it more transparent and obvious to the public of how we are granting these funds or when we do. This program has proven to be a successful vehicle to get the funds out to nonprofit organizations and to provide a very important service to the community. It has become, it's challenging. Council and staff has a very busy schedule at all the times. And as we've seen, it's hard to put together meetings. Last year, we did this as an entire group of 5 in special meeting. I am proposing this year that the council select 2 members to be on a committee to review with the 2 council members and myself, and bring back a recommendation to the full council of where these grants should be given at that time. The Grants and Support Program has provided for services that city staff does not have the capacity to fill the needs of the community. One such great example of what's been done with this is with the C5 and the Friday night markets. So pending the number of grants and support applications received by the city has budgeted $45,000 in its current fiscal year budget. So at this time, staff recommends council consider to appoint 2 council members to serve on the fiscal year 2022-2023 Grants and Support Ad Hoc Committee, with the city administrator review all grants and support applications received by October 31, 2022, and to make recommendations to the full council at a future meeting. And I will say, I spoke with Councilman Mojave today, and he said he would be interested in being on that committee, even though he's absent tonight. So for your consideration.
Good, because I was going to nominate him, Councilmember Ellis, to be on that committee.
He was going to be one way or the other.
They're not here.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think we've got our 2 nominees.
I guess the question is, what is the timeline for 20 to turn these around? If they get due next Monday, then
They're due next Monday. I would assume that probably, I would be too late for the 14th meeting, but I would hope that maybe we could have something to bring back to council by the 28th. So about a month.
Actually, I actually wanted to do it.
Okay.
So I was kidding. I'll join to be on that committee. Okay.
do we need a motion?
Do we have any public comment? No. Okay. No, I know that confused me.
Yeah.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint or nominate Councilmember Mahovic and Mayor Schwartz to the committee. Let me,
I'll second that motion.
Oh.
Call for a vote?
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, council.
Okay, wastewater treatment plant digesters, Public Works.
Good evening again. So as part of the wastewater treatment plant, we've got 2 sludge digesters out there, and they are in need of periodic cleaning about every 7 to 10 years. These things get cleaned out. It keeps them operating efficiently and effectively and healthy, most important. And so we are trying to have our 2 digesters cleaned in conjunction with Eastern Sierra Services Community Services District. They have 1 digester. Their digester is in need of attention promptly. So this has kind of expedited the timeline on getting this done. So we jumped on board with them and received a quote to have our 2 digesters cleaned along with their 1 digester. And we went directly to US Reduction Systems. They're the ones that cleaned our digester last time back in 2013, last time it was done. They are one of the only providers of this service. My understanding is on the West Coast. So this is what they do. This is their business. They've done this for us before. They can also meet the timeline that the district needs. And it fits nicely with our timeline of every 7 to 10 years. And so we have just received that 1 quote from them. There is special circumstances outlined in the municipal code, where you can do a sole source to a vendor if they are the only ones that can meet the need or the only one that provides that service. As far as the cost goes, so the cost of this cleaning back in 2013 was $35,000. Now the quote is up at $39,995. So it's about a 14% increase. It's not bad. We were expecting it to be much higher. And I think we're saving a lot on the mobilization demob costs by doing it in conjunction with the district. So it's a nice little partnership there where we're both saving money on getting this service done. The other important thing is that we're experiencing some leaks with our biogas system. So the gases that are coming out of those digesters, it's primarily methane along with some other gases. We need to make repairs to those pipes, and we really don't want to make them while there's methane pumping through them. So it's a safety issue. So we're planning on doing those repairs at the same time that they're getting cleaned. So they're offline. It's a safe work environment for our employees. And it's also critical work that needs to get done. Currently, this is not included in the 22-23 fiscal year budget. So we will be doing an amendment to the professional services line item in the sewer fund, which will be presented at mid-year. From what I know of the budget, we should not be having any trouble moving the money around to be able to pay for this service. So with that, the recommendation I have is that the council finds the special circumstances exist for the sole source procurement. Also, the approval of the proposed professional services agreement for the cleaning at a cost of $39,995 with an authorized expenditure not to exceed $43,994.50. That's a 10% on top. And then also to approve me as the Public Works Director to execute the proposed agreement. Questions?
So my question is, that $39,995, is that just our portion? Okay.
Yes.
And they've given a separate bid to Eastern Sierra
Correct.
Community Services District. Okay, that was my only confusion in this.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I have the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask, when their digester is being cleaned, we're gonna be taking care of their waste,
No.
vice versa? No? No need for that?
No.
Okay.
What kind of timeline does the processor take?
So what we're looking at is we don't have a firm timeline from them, but they give themselves about 5 days to get the cleaning done. And what we'll be doing is cleaning if I understand correctly, this has been very quick timeline on this, and I've never done it before. So maybe Mr. Deshawn can fill in the gaps of my answer. We'll be cleaning our digesters first and preserving some of our sludge that exists in the digesters kind of as like seed sludge. And then the district will clean theirs. And if we have any leftover sludge, seed sludge, we'll provide that to them. So it'll be like a 1-2 type of deal. So.
And 5 days is not too long for things not to be processed?
So believe it or not, we don't stop our operations. They just keep working right through it, and new sludge, old sludge, it's all the same to them. They just keep on working.
Into the nitty gritties of what exactly sludge digester cleaning entails, but the pictures are not pleasant.
Oh, come on.
I went on a tour when I first got this.
But
So
did you go inside the digester?
no.
No.
I stood near the
Yeah.
digester.
So they do get pumped out and fully cleaned and pressure wash. And we can do, one of the nice things is we can do a visual inspection of all the components inside, see how the concrete's doing, see how the pipes are doing, make repairs as necessary. But we have 2 of them, so we can always maintain some level of capacity between the 2. So
And the advantage is we're gonna be able to do some repairs while they're doing the
Yes.
cleaning. So that's
Yes.
good. Okay.
yeah, some much needed repairs in a safer environment than doing it while they're trying to off gas
I
as
guess
it is.
that is why there are not very many companies that do this kind of work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, and I looking at what they do at $40,000, it seems like a steal. So, the other piece I would add is, hopefully this is the last time we have to get it done before we have something like a joint plant through BAWA. So, we'll see. Knock on wood.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Any public comment on the digester? No. Okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to find the special circumstances of the Bishop Municipal Code 3.24.0706 exist regarding the purchase. Approve the proposed professional services agreement for the cleaning or the wastewater treatment plant digester with US Reduction Systems, Inc. in the amount of $39,995 and to authorize the expenditure in a not to exceed amount of $43,994.50, which includes a 10% contingency, and approve the Public Works Director to execute the proposed agreement.
I'll second that.
Call for a vote?
Councilmember Kong,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to future agenda items.
I would be interested in having a discussion. And this has no impact by what we just did tonight, but in the last few meetings, and since I've been here, we've a couple of times now reappointed people without going out to look for people in both the Planning Commission and Park and Recs. And I didn't know if we could just have a discussion about that, since I wasn't here when they made those decisions, that the town is changing so quickly that I guess I feel like that there should be some opportunity for other people to get in the mix if they want to. And again, no criticism of the wonderful people we have willing to volunteer. I just think it's worth a discussion.
Okay. Then let's go on to city council and committee reports. Jose?
I attended the Inyo County Board of Supervisors District 1 Forum with Jeff Gabriel and Trina Aurel. It was nice. I only stayed for the first section, not for the public questions, but it was a nice forum. We had a tribal council lunch, which was very productive, great ideas and opportunities to work together. I also did the domestic violence walk along with our police chief, Standridge, and a good group of people. It was a nice walk, and we both, Chief Standridge and I, stayed for the event after the walk at the Cultural Center. It was a very nice event. Also attended the Inyo Associates dinner along with Mayor Schwartz. Very well attended. It was a very large group of people. The Planning Commission public hearing last week, I was there. It was a good meeting, very productive. And I also attended the memorial tree planting for former Chamber Board member John Loud. And just the Festival of Frights, not Freaks. Very, very nice event. No, thank you for putting it together, guys. No, yes.
Busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
I was not so busy, but I did go to a conference last week, a 3-day conference for LAFCO. And for those of you who don't know, that is the local agency formation commissions. And I am a slight bit ashamed to admit that I've been serving on this commission now since I've been in this position and didn't really know too much about it. We've only had a couple of meetings. And so I went to this conference and just learned leaps and bounds about what LAFCO does, and how, what a super important job it is, and how all around the state, every county has a LAFCO, and how they deal with special service districts and about land acquisitions and boundary changes and bringing unincorporated areas into cities and counties, and do things like preserve agriculture and open space. It was just a really eye-opening conference. I was super glad I went. So
Fantastic. I had a SCOG and ESTA meeting on last Friday, And we received from ESTA a financial report, and their finances continue to remain healthy. They continue to face driver shortages, especially in the Mammoth Lakes area. So they are thinking outside the box, and they're starting a pilot PTO program, which incentivizes some of their drivers to take their time off during the shoulder seasons. And then they are collaborating with the town of Mammoth Lakes to start a job sharing program, which gives some of the part-time employees the opportunity to have full-time work, and they'll do some work with Mammoth Lakes on streets, roads, parks and rec when they're not driving for ESTA. So that's some collaboration going on there. And then I also attended the SCOG meeting, and as Elaine mentioned in her report, the SCOG unanimously supported the allowing of the SURF Phase 1 planning project to be administered by the Sierra Business Council. And then we also received a presentation from Blue Forest Conservation. And that was interesting. Again, it's sort of out of the box thinking on how to finance some bigger projects. And so we've talked a lot about that project up in Mammoth where they're doing the forest thinning. And so they've been doing a lot of planning, but then when the actual implementation comes into play, they're going to have to figure out how to finance that. So the Blue Forest Conservation Group comes up with all sorts of creative financing models on how to fund projects such as the one up in Mammoth. And then the consultant that did our downtown specific plan was a plan that the SCOG is administering. So they're going to do a very comprehensive, thorough plan for a trail network from Markleeville down to Lone Pine, essentially, which would be great. And then the last thing is we talked about the board having a full-time executive director, which would be Elaine, but they also were very cognizant of our needs and how we did not find someone to fill her position. So she would be able to help us in that transition while she is the executive director. So that's an update there. So that was SCOG. I also attended Inyo Associates, which was great. And the Bishop 14U boys won soccer in Carson City last weekend. And now they can go to a regional Section 2 tournament in the Bay Area. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting. We beat Mammoth in the finals. So that's where I was this weekend up in Carson. That's about it. So we can adjourn this meeting to November 14th, 2022 at 6 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. Okay, that's it. Nothing. All right. Gavel. All right, turn it off.